Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the JK Lakshmi Cement Q4 FY20 and FY20 conference call hosted by PhillipCapital India Private Limited. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star, then 0 on your touchtone phone. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Vaibhav Agarwal from PhillipCapital India Private Limited. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, Sanford. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of PhillipCapital India Private Limited, we welcome you to the Q4 FY20 and FY20 call of JK Lakshmi Cement. On the call, we have with us Dr. Shailendra Chokshi, Whole-Time Director, and Mr. Sudhir Bidkar, CFO of the company. At this point of time, I'll hand over the floor to the management of JK Lakshmi Cement for the opening remarks, which will be followed by the Q&A. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, Vaibhav, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Sudhir Bidkar along with Dr. Chokshi, welcoming you for Q4 on call. You would have all seen the results. I don't want to repeat any numbers therein. Only thing that, yes, the financial year 1920 ended on a sore note because of this lockdown, which lasted initially in the month of March for about 12 days and then continued much longer than what we had initially envisaged. Though we have started operations in a smaller way, starting with in the month of April with commissioning restarting of the grinding unit, and slowly, gradually we are picking up, and without wasting any time, I'll throw the floor open for question answers, please.
Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may please press star, then 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star, then 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Anyone who wishes to ask questions, please press star, then 1. The first question is from the line of Shravan Shah from Dolat Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Sir, before asking any question, just a clarification needed. Raw material numbers for FY19 and 20 seems to be different if I total the 4 quarter numbers, and this has been adjusted in the employee cost and the other expenses. So just wanted to understand, is it a printing mistake or have we restated the numbers? And if yes, then in which quarter of the FY19 and FY14 we have adjusted? So for FY19 we have 3 raw material numbers. One is as per annual report, one is till quarter 3 result we have published, and now it is a third number. So just wanted to understand the clarification on that.
You are talking about here? Which year? Sorry?
FY19 full year and for FY20 raw material consumed number. If I total of the 4 quarter of FY19 and FY20, the number is different versus what reported yesterday in the press release. And so now, and this number, though it has not affected the EBITDA, it has been adjusted against the employee cost and other expenses. So I am simply saying for FY19 we have 3 raw material consumed number. One is as per annual report, one is till the FY20 third quarter FY20 results, and the third one is the yesterday we published. So there are 3 numbers. So just wanted a clarification.
I don't have the details. I have to take that offline, this question, but there would be some grouping adjustment. Other than that, there is no reason for us to believe that the summation of 4 quarters should not end up with that. So that is only the grouping as may have been required pursuant to some grouping change, that's all. Other than that, there is no change. Still, I'll take that on separately.
Okay. And second, sir, one request. As we publish the numbers and also we release the press release, a humble request if you can also publish the cement volume numbers with the press release, then it would save your time also and it will be a very good from the investor's perspective. So that's a humble request. Just wanted now I am asking a question. Firstly, just wanted the decline, whatever 15-16% we've seen. If you can help me in terms of the region-wise, north, east, west, what has happened, and now in terms of when we started the operation post whatever the shutdown till April 20. So in last 1 month, 25-30 days or how we are seeing what kind of utilization levels we have seen. And broadly, whatever I know it is very difficult to give any kind of a guidance at this juncture, but still just trying to understand what kind of decline you would see for this quarter and for the full year.
Dr. Choksi, you would like to respond?
Yeah, I'll respond to him as far as how the things are panning out and how we look at the coming future. Regarding the region-wise production of sales figures, I think we
don't share.
Yeah, we that's what I wanted to convey, that we have been conveying that we don't share those numbers.
Yeah.
No, broader, I'm just saying the region where we are operating north, east, west, what kind of a region as such has seen a decline, if it is possible, otherwise no issues. And for now, whatever the last 1 month, whatever we are operating, what kind of utilization have we reached, 40, 50%, 30%?
You see, broadly, there has not been any major shift in our dispatch pattern is concerned. Region-wise dispatches are concerned. So whether east or north or west, we remain more or less a similar percentage what we have been discussing earlier. Except that yes, within the region, we have tried to supply to the nearest possible areas, and that is how we have been able to cut down on our logistic costs. But the region-wise distribution has not changed materially. Regarding how we have been panning out, I think, just 25 days operation is too small a period in such uncertain times as present to really form any opinion or to, in fact, they can be grossly misleading reading of the future. Because, the disease itself is now gradually spreading to the villages. With the migrant labor going to the villages, there is a very strong feeling that that is one area which was where we saw the maximum traction in the demand last 25 days. It is quite possible that that may get affected. But nevertheless, purely from the statistics point of view, we are currently operating at about 65% of the capacity, and we do hope that this will continue, and the real pickup as our current as on date visibility is that it will improve from third quarter onwards. That is what our current outlook is.
Okay. Sir.
Sorry. You had asked about this reclassification of the raw materials and all that. One change I was told which has happened is that earlier the packing material cost part of the raw material that has now been removed as per the requirement and as advised by our auditors. Instead of being clubbed with the raw material cost, it is being shown as part of the other expenses. Still, I would suggest that you send me a small mail after the con call. I will give you the full reconciliation, and that I am told is the only reason for this reclassification.
Okay. No, sir, I will send.
People will explain the reason for that, but broadly this is the only reason, because of the shifting of the packing cost from the raw material cost to the other expenses.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sanjay Gandhi from Ratnabali Investments. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Good afternoon.
Yeah. Can you share the production number for this quarter as well as last year of this same quarter?
Sorry, come again?
Can you just share the production number for this quarter as well as last year of this quarter?
Production. You want production, not the sales. Our cement production was for this quarter 20.15 lakh tons, and the corresponding quarter of this year was 26.15.
26.1. And this quarter, sir, you missed out the number.
20.15.
20 point. And what is the sales number, sir?
Sorry?
What is the sales number, if you can kindly guide?
Sales number for this quarter is 24.65 and 24.65, which includes clinker sale of 3.3, and the corresponding quarter was 29.39, including clinker sale of 2.09.
Okay, so this is a standalone basis, right, sir?
Yeah. We are talking on a standalone. All figures are standalone.
On standalone. And what is the current utilization for the Udaipur cement, sir?
Sorry?
What is the current utilization for the Udaipur cement?
Udaipur cement is now operating in the current month around over 65%.
Over 65%. And sir, what is the current pricing scenario post this COVID? Like, if you can guide what has been the changes or traction that happened from the exit quarter of March 20 until as on date?
You see, we are retaining more or less the same price everywhere, barring that there has been some price increases which we have been able to take in the east and some price in the north. But we have not been able to take any price increase in Gujarat or Maharashtra because of the very, very low demand there.
Okay. So which pockets you are planning to increase the price, or you have already increased the price, sir?
No, but hereafter we are not intending for any immediate price increase till the demand does not support the further price increase.
So you mean to say the post-COVID thing, the prices are flattening that of March exit quarter, right?
No, we have taken some increase, as I was mentioning. About 10 rupees, we have been able to take the price increase in north and east, and about 15 rupees in the central region.
15 in the central region?
Yeah.
Okay. And what is the current petcoke price scenario, sir? The prices have already dipped a lot. So do we have booked any kind of inventory you have already, or the benefit which you can reap in the coming quarter, if you can guide something on that issue?
Sorry, repeat your question, please.
I want to know, like, the petcoke prices have dipped a bit. So can you guide us, like, what kind of inventory we have as of now, or what kind of we have booked as of now, so that we can reap the benefit in the coming quarters?
We are in the process because we are carrying certain inventories, although the prices have softened, but we are still not booked in a major way for future because we are still carrying our inventory.
Okay. So average carrying cost would be roughly 70% per ton, sir? Or it's higher?
Sorry?
The average carrying cost would be 70% per ton? At what levels are carrying, sir?
Last quarter it was 7,000 rupees, 7,100, 7,000, close to 7,000 in the last quarter, as compared to 8,100 in the corresponding quarter last year. Overall, for the year as a whole, it was 7,300 as against 8,300.
8,300. Okay, sir. Thank you so much. I'll be back in a few, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ashish Kumar from Infinity Alternatives. Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir, and congratulations for a great set of results. Couple of questions, sir. Wanted to understand because last time when we had mentioned, we were talking about looking at evaluating an expansion plan. Post-COVID situation, what is the capex plan for FY 21 that we are looking at, and when will we plan for the next expansion?
We have temporarily kept that on hold with the new expansion which we were talking of.
Right.
Was to come in north. So we were to announce had nothing had happened, means without COVID we would have announced this. But now we have kept that on hold. At the appropriate time, we'll come back with the announcement.
And in terms of the capex plan for FY 21, how much would that be, sir?
Capex is nothing major. Only two things are happening. One, a small waste heat recovery project is getting implemented at Sirohi, and so the capex for that would be about 120 odd crores in the current year, FY 21. And some small balancing is happening in Udaipur, which may cost about 50 crores there for Udaipur. Other than that, there could be some normal capex of 15-20 crores. So overall, I see capex in JK Lakshmi of not more than 150 crores max, and not more than 50 crores for UCWL.
Okay, so total 200 at a total level.
Yeah.
The second question, sir, was that we had given this 40 crore loan to a group company. By when do you think will we be getting that repayment?
Yeah, we had given that to a group company 40 crores loan. Actually, what had happened is, though it had not impacted us, we were having a treasury corpus of about 350 crores at the start of last year, which has ballooned to about 450 crores. Fortunately for us, the investments in various debt instruments were safe. But looking at what has been happening in the market, 2-3 players in the recent past had deferred in fact, the maturity of the FMPs, and something has happened to one of the major mutual fund where fixed debt schemes serve. So in between at that time, there was this opportunity of giving an ICD to a group company, which we thought would be a safer bet than investing in a market which was in turmoil. So it's a loan for a year and could get rolled over for another.
So you think it will get repaid only in FY22?
Yeah. Initially was for a period of 1 year. They may pay and they may ask for another one. So this is a deployment of surplus money. It's not a group investment elsewhere, other than not a major long-term investment. It's only a deployment of our treasury corpus.
Yeah.
It saves revenue than to wait it in a turmoil market.
Right. One suggestion and one request would be that given where your stock price is, if that money could have been deployed to do a buyback, like another group company of yours is doing it, it would help in terms of it would help from a shareholder perspective.
We had earlier also done that one buyback in 2012.
Right.
And we thought we have given good return as far as the dividend was concerned. But yes, certainly, this is a treasury corpus which we are keeping for our future growth. Now, as I mentioned in our response to your question or some previous question, that we have deferred that our expansion plan. Had the expansion been on time, we would have required these money, whatever is in the corpus, treasury corpus, as part of the internal accrual required for the promoter's contribution for the new project. It's only because that project has got deferred, that's why. So I don't have money. We can't borrow to do a buyback. And this money, the treasury corpus which is there, is for funding my long-term growth. At that time when we had the surplus, we did the buyback. So that 40 crores here and there will not make much dent in that.
Yeah. Now, this is just a request. Given the fact that you deferred it, you might want to think about it over the next couple of months. I'm sure your board will come to the right decision.
Yeah.
Thanks and wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Participants, to ask a question, please press star, then 1. The next question is from the line of Ritesh Shah from Investec Capital. Please go ahead.
Sir, congratulations for a great job on the debt side. Sir, to understand how is the debt maturity profile, what sort of repayments do we have lined up? Just first question.
We have today an outstanding long-term loan, a total loan portfolio on a standalone basis of about 1450 crores, and about 250 crores over the next 2 years each will get repaid, 250 to 270 crores. So we'll be down by about over 500 over the next 2 years.
Okay. And sir, at UCW?
UCWL, we are today having a total loan of about 550 crores total, right? And there the repayment is gradually. It is not happening in a big way because they had done some temporary funding through NCDs issued to a group company. That has now been replaced with a fresh loan which is now coming in their own balance sheet from the bank. So that carries 8 to 10 years repayment tenure with a moratorium of about a year or so. So effectively, there will not be any major reduction in the debt as far as UCW is concerned.
That's useful. Sir, in the earlier question, you did indicate that we are postponing. We could have actually gone ahead with the north expansion, which I believe is we are referring to 1.8 to 2 million ton at Sirohi, 1.5 to 2 million.
Could you indicate by Sirohi? We said in north. It could have happened in either Udaipur or in Sirohi. We had not selected or pinned down either for Sirohi or for Udaipur.
Correct. Sir, I just wanted to understand what would have been the quantum of capex had we gone ahead for this expansion if not for COVID?
It would have been anywhere between 1,200 to 1,400 crores.
Okay. So, sir, incrementally, if one had to deploy this, what are the variables that we are looking at before we actually kickstart this process of the next phase of expansion?
It's basically demand supply and that's how the demand
yeah. Basically, the demand supply and our own existing capacity utilization. So we had reached about 70 to 80% capacity utilization. And had this COVID not been there, we would have been, we would have continued with about 80 to 83% capacity utilization. And that would have given us enough reason to go in for expansion. Because by the time it would come in about 21 to 24 months, we'd be actually start losing our market share. So that is how we had planned our next capacity expansion.
Correct. Sir, I have a couple of questions for you. Sir, we have seen a very nice price growth on a year-on-year basis. Can you give some color on the pricing differential between the northern markets and the eastern markets for the quarter, and what are the trends right now, if possible? And secondly, any major differential on the cost curve between north and east?
In terms of price differential, yes, there is a substantial price difference between the prices here and in the east. The only advantage that in east is that our nearly 80% of our sale is in the trade segment there. While in the north is about 55%. So if I take the weighted average price difference, while the market price difference would be about 40-45 rupees, but because of our good trade price and also because of the low freight, there we are operating at a very low radius. The total market is well within 300 kilometers. That makes it the actual price differential net to us at about 20 rupees to 25 rupees a bag.
Okay.
Otherwise, the market price differential is about 40 to 45 rupees a bag.
Interesting. Sir, last question. Specifically, there are labor issues, truck availability issues. So, sir, how are we catering, basically looking at it from our distributor network? Do we have our own dedicated fleet from a transport side, basically in northern India and eastern India? Or is it we completely rely on external guys? What is the degree of comfort that we have over here?
So we have actually a mix. We don't have the entire fleet as our own. We have a mix. We have some dedicated transporters who have put and their entire fleet at our disposal. But that takes care only of about 50% of our requirement. For the balance, we use railway for about 18 to 20%, and the balance is all the market truck. So there, of course, the challenge. When we started the operation in April, I think we got a bit of a lead because of our high percentage of dedicated truckers attached to us. So we could ramp up comparatively faster. It's only relatively. And we could reach 60-65% in very short time. But going forward, if the migration goes unabated, then this could be again a fresh challenge can be laid to us, both in terms of operation, the contract labor which is engaged in the plant, especially in the packing and loading, etc., and also in the supply chain. It could be a challenge.
So thank you so much. I'll join back the queue for more questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. To ask a question, please press star, then 1. The next question is from the line of Ritesh Sheth from Edelweiss. Please go ahead.
questions. Firstly, I'm trying to understand on the realization front. So for this quarter, if you see, your realization had declined by around approx 2% quarter-on-quarter. But what we are seeing, and what our channel check suggested was that there was a realization growth of around 2%, 2.5%. So why was that your realization declined? Was it because of the mix in trade, non-trade, or because of mix in premium? Just trying to understand that.
Decline over what? Which
quarter? Third quarter and fourth quarter. Third quarter and fourth quarter.
Yeah, you see, it's marginal. I think it's a difference about. I think almost very similar. What almost was almost 7 or 8 rupees difference.
Yeah.
But then we have been able to make up in the freight, where we could reduce the freight considerably, and that gave us a better, net realization, so to say. So I'm not too sure where you feel that put us to a disadvantage.
Right. So you're right on that, sir. It's 7-8 rupees of decline in realization quarter-on-quarter from third quarter to fourth quarter. But in general, what the market generally experienced was there was marginal increase in prices rather than the decline what you have reported. So was trying to understand where the decline came from.
So it depends on it actually depends on your market mix. We have seen a price decline in Gujarat, and we have almost 37-38% supply there. So it depends on, we are comparing with what.
Agree, right, sir. Okay, got it. Got your point. I mean, maybe your east supply to east market would have increased where we have a lower price. So, but
you're right. That also makes it a difference. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Thank you, sir. That's all from my side.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Amit Murarka from Motilal Oswal. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Good afternoon, everyone. So a couple of questions. One, I missed your comment on capacity utilization. So currently, what will be the utilization at which you are operating?
Yeah, I think we mentioned in another question earlier that we are operating at, the plants are operating at about 70% capacity utilization. And east is doing slightly better, where it might be about 75% capacity utilization.
So that would roughly imply, a near normal level, right? If you have to look at a full year average basis.
Not exactly, because our full year capacity, if I leave out the fourth quarter, then we are operating at about 80% capacity utilization.
Yeah, so it's 10% lower broadly then. The volumes have recovered quite well in that case.
Sorry?
So the volumes have actually recovered very well in that case.
Yeah, but as I was mentioning, whether that would really continue is a big challenge. And I had put that caveat in the beginning that, the initial requirement came from the dry supply chain. So, the whole pipeline was dry, the retailers, the dealers, the material in transit and so on. So initially, the push came from there. And then, of course, the rural construction, which was left half in between when this lockdown came, the rural was immediate to pick it up. And there, we are better placed in the rural market, and that helped us.
Okay. So is there a fear or a concern that maybe June volumes could actually dip, given that the pent-up demand will get over and plus the migrant labor issue is also, looking at bit of a concern?
The situation is actually very dynamic. It's very, very difficult to really, put a finger as to what will the numbers be in June. But right now we are working on the premise that June would be at very similar level as May. Because from July onwards, in any case, the monsoons will start impacting. So the volume will go down there. and a lot of people would like to finish their construction despite all these odds before the monsoon sets in.
Right. And in terms of the operating costs, has there been any perceptible change in cost post the COVID or in this situation, like road logistics rate has apparently gone up? So can you put more light on that?
Well, there have been some increase in the logistic cost, but then we are trying to make it up by, more amount of or higher volume of direct dispatches to the site rather than routing it through the dump and so on. So net, we may not see really any major change in the cost.
Okay, fine. And petcoke
other than of course the fixed cost which will per ton basis will certainly go up.
Yeah, of course. And also on the other variable line items, like petcoke currently would be lower than, let's say, the 4Q averages, right?
You're right.
Able to quantify that?
Some inventory, so the real impact of that new reduced price will come later on.
Okay, so how much was the reduction? I mean, if you could quantify.
Reduction as of now is about 10%.
Okay, fine, got it. So thanks a lot. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, you may enter star then 1 to ask a question. Please note, this is the final reminder for questions and no further reminders will be placed after this. The next question is from the line of Pratik Desai from NMB Securities. Please go ahead.
Hello. Yes, again. Congratulations, sir, on a good set of numbers.
Thank
so
you.
My question is towards the exceptional item which you had, the FY20, so 30 crore. What was it towards?
It is towards this was done not in this quarter, it was coming since the first quarter. This was towards the impairment of the carrying cost of one capital work in progress of the conveyor belt which is to be commissioned at our Durg cement plant. So the carrying cost was lower than the actual carrying cost was higher. That's why the impairment was to be provided.
Okay. Sir, can you give the fuel mix for the quarter? I mean, I missed the numbers actually.
What mix?
Fuel mix.
Fuel mix.
Almost 20% as a coal and 80% as a petcoke.
Okay, so it is largely towards petcoke only. And you actually gave out the tons per ton numbers, right, for the petcoke? Or
yeah, Mr. Vitkar earlier gave me
this per ton total in this quarter was about 7,000 rupees as against 8,100 in the corresponding quarter. And for the year as a whole was about 7,300 per ton as against 8,300 in the last financial year.
Okay. The last question is towards, so how do you see the demand recovery and specifically in rural? Like you mentioned earlier that you are like a good established player in rural regions. So how do you see the demand recovery going forward for FY21?
No, I think I mentioned also that whatever demand we are witnessing now is mainly coming in the rural. So the demand recovery in the rural has been good. And there are a couple of factors which are supporting it, and there are a couple of factors which will negate it. So how they will play out in future is of course anybody's guess. The positive factors are that the migrant labour which has gone back to their villages, they are likely to fuel the demand of the rural, because when they are free, they can take up the construction of their own houses, construction or repair, of their own houses. And they don't need to engage outside labor, they can do it themselves. That's a very common phenomenon. So that can actually add to the demand. The negative side is that, with a lot of people going back to the villages, the spread of the disease in the rural is likely to happen more. And it has been witnessed in many places in Rajasthan that villages have started getting infected. So it's both positive and negative.
Okay, that's it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Swagata Ghosh from Franklin Templeton. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for taking my question. So the clinker sales that you generally do every quarter, is it to external companies or is it to our Udaipur unit that gets accounted in the standalone numbers?
This is very broadly external only, except for some conversion job work which we are doing from other outsourced grinding units. We are not selling any clinker to Udaipur.
Okay. So, but sir, why are we selling to external units? So maybe you can help me with the profitability number on these volumes, and also from a competitive perspective, competitive strategy perspective, does it make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense because it saves us the transportation cost. When I am only transferring the clinker, I am not transferring the fly ash or the system along with it. So I am not sending the cement. So if I have a grinding unit which is near to a market where I don't have a grinding unit, it helps. So like I have an outsourced grinding unit in UP and one I have in J&K, where I don't have a nearby captive grinding unit nearby. So that helps me in terms of logistics, and it also helps me to retain my market share there.
Okay, so the end cement product gets sold as JK Lakshmi brand only, but just that it does not come in your P&L, the revenue, the cement revenue. Is that understanding right?
Sorry, come again. Can you repeat that?
So when you sell clinker to this outsourced grinding unit, and they in turn sell the cement, the revenue, the clinker revenue comes in my P&L, but the cement revenue is in some other entity's P&L. Is that right?
No, we buy the cement from them. That is the trading. We buy the cement, we sell. First we sell the clinker, then we buy the cement from them and then sell in our own name. So that trading or that extra is trading of cement.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Prateek Kumar from Antique Stock Broking. Please go ahead.
Hello. Good evening, sir. Sir, my first question is, can you give volumes for consolidated operations for FY20?
Volume, sorry, come again.
UCW volumes for FY20.
UCWL volume for FY. Just a minute. UCWL has done a total of about 19 lakh tons total sales, which included 14.69 of cement and 4.42 of clinker.
So this when we if we have to calculate the total consolidated volume for the company, that will have this 92 lakh of standalone plus 19 lakh of UCW. That's right, or we have to subtract them into segment.
That's right, because for us also we are selling at arm's length. Even if we are selling some product to Udaipur or to outsiders, we are always doing it at arm's length pricing. And even if they are selling to us, then all is at arm's length pricing. So as good as a sale only.
No, but your individual company sales could have that. So there is no inter-segment or inter-company we have to subtract for that?
No. It is simply to be added.
Okay. And sir, you highlighted trade mix in East is 80%, North and Gujarat is 55%. How is the premium product mix in these two regions of the trade sales?
It's roughly, I won't have the exact figure right now, but then it's roughly 20% of my trade sale in the north.
And in East, how would that be?
East would be about 12 to 14% of the trade sale.
Okay. And regarding the price hike, you mentioned you took 10-15 rupees price hike. So this improvement in utilization in the month of May to 65-70, have all these volumes happened at higher prices?
I think most of them, yes. Barring what we are selling in Gujarat, there's no price increase.
Even in May, month of May?
Yeah, in May also there's no price increase. The demand there is very subdued because of the very high incidence of corona there.
Right. And how would be the profitability, like for a year basis, how would be the profitability per ton in North and East operations?
Too uncertain and too far off really to discuss that in today's time.
No. In FY20, how would the profitability?
Share the region-wise profitability, please.
Okay. Just one thing on your gross debt position for consolidated operations. Is it 2,000 crores?
Sorry?
Gross debt position for consolidated operation, is it 2,000 crores? 1,450 plus 550, that's what you said, right?
Yeah. It is about 1980. Close to 2,000, you're right.
Okay, so there is a very large component of current maturities of long-term debt in that case for FY20.
About 283 crores, 280 odd. Yeah, that is what I mentioned, about 250 to 270 crores will get paid off.
So for consolidated operations?
In a consolidated basis, about 250 crores of debt is a replacement debt. So what is going to be paid out of the company's cash flow profitability is about 270 only.
Right. Thanks, sir. I'll get back to the queue.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Saurabh Dubey from HDFC Securities. Please go ahead.
Hello. I want to know the RMC revenue for Q4.
Sorry?
The RMC revenue for Q4.
It's about 43 crores.
43 crores. Okay. And what would be the clinker utilization?
Sorry?
What would be the clinker utilization for Q4?
Clinker utilization? You mean capacity utilization?
The production in Q4, sir?
Just a minute. Clinker capacity utilization you're asking, no? It is about, in the fourth quarter, it was about 95-96%.
What was the number, clinker production?
Clinker production for the fourth quarter was 16 lakh.
Okay. And so flat Q1Q?
Sorry?
So on a Q1Q basis, the clinker production number was flattish, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And sir, on the console volume numbers that you said, like the standalone volume for the full year was 92 lakhs odd. And for the console, including ECW, should we directly add 19 lakhs or other intercompany sale which needs to be knocked off?
Sorry, can you repeat your question, please?
Yeah. So for cement and clinker sales, JK Lakshmi standalone for the quarter is close to 92 lakhs. Is that understanding right?
That is for the year, not for the quarter.
For the year, yeah, for the year.
Right.
And for the UCW, you mentioned 19 lakhs.
Right.
Cement plus clinker.
Right.
But if we want to see the console revenue and divide to get a net realization, what would be the volume we should take? A plus B or some?
Commission only.
No inter-segment? You may be selling to Udaipur and Udaipur would be selling some cement or clinker to you?
Because we are doing both the entities as arm's length pricing.
Okay, but that doesn't create any double counting of numbers when we add up?
No, in consolidated basis, when you do for the value part, there are two things. On the volume is total 110. But when you consolidate for value purposes, sales value, then whatever is sold for consolidation basis, that has to be knocked out.
Yeah, so that is what I'm asking. You may have knocked off on the revenue front.
Yeah.
So accordingly on the volume front, what knock-off
I'll just come back to you on that. What is the corresponding knocking off required from the volume?
Mm-hmm. And sir, okay, and then meanwhile, full year basis, what is our clinker utilization in standalone entity?
95, I told you. I'll just get
full year
of that, the inter sales which needs to be knocked off. I'll separately address you that question.
No issue, sir. One more question was on the clinker utilization on standalone entity. We have around 6.9 million ton installed capacity clinker.
Sorry?
Standalone JK Lakshmi clinker capacity is 6.9 million ton.
Clinker capacity?
Yeah.
Our total clinker capacity for JK Lakshmi is 6.7.
6.7, and out of that we have already achieved in this financial year 6.5 million of production.
So that is what I said. Capacity utilization for the year is almost 95%.
Correct. So in terms of for growth purpose, we do need to have another clinker line, going forward.
Yeah, that was what the expansion we were planning, but
right.
In terms of UCWL, we do have the surplus clinker capacity there, and we are also doing bottlenecking that will help us to further improve the production there.
How much is that will lead to from 1.3 million ton currently, Udaipur?
1.2 is there existing capacity that will go up to 1.5.
And what timeline do you ascribe to that, sir?
By the end of this financial year, it should be in place.
Okay. And just one more question. Initially, you had mentioned that you were talking about around 15 crore capex for expansion in the north, brownfield expansion in the north. So what capacity was that related to? 1,500 crore?
That was about 2.5 million tons capacity.
And at same location, Sirohi or 2.5 at Sirohi?
We had not pinned down. It was in north, either in Sirohi or in Udaipur.
Okay, but one unit of 2.5. It may not be a too small.
One line of 1.5 clinkerization and commensurate 2.5 grinding capacity.
Oh, and for that you are marking around 1,500 crores?
Yeah. 1,400 to 1,200 to 1,400 crores.
Because earlier you had guided that for a brownfield expansion, your capex intensity may be, around 500 to 600 crores per ton. So, from that perspective.
Yeah, that is what I'm saying. For 2.5 would be about 1,200.
Yeah, 1,500, right. Okay. Great. So you have already mentioned on the debt profile and, debt reduction plans for next 2 years.
Yeah.
Great, sir. I'll come back with you. Thanks. All the very best.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Swagata Ghosh from Franklin Templeton. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So, sir, just a clarification on a question I asked earlier. This clinker volume that you said, it was 3.3 lakh for the quarter. So we sold this entire quantity to the outsourced grinding unit. Then we bought the corresponding cement back and sold it, right?
Right.
Okay. So,
just hold on. The entire sale is not for trading. Some has actually gone to as sales without there being any conversion. Only a portion of that got converted at our outsourced grinding unit. What I'm saying is not the entire 3.5 has gone to get converted at our outsourced grinding unit. Maybe only 20-30% thereof could have got converted only.
Okay. So
other remaining clinker is the actual clinker sale to outsider where there is no conversion happening.
Okay. So then my question, sir, is then if that 70-80% of this number is still like about 10% of your sales number, so it's generally very uncommon for a player your size doing such quantity of clinker sales to external parties continuously.
If I may clarify, this would be roughly 40-45% is our own conversion, and about 55% would be, as Mr. Discussed there, would be the same. So your question whether this is a common or not, every company will have its own strategy of where to sell. So if I have a choice that I have to convert cement and there's long distance, or if I sell a clinker at a lower distance, I get a price. It depends. One is constantly taking a view based on the relative return that one gets either on clinker or cement.
Okay. And so the profitability is comparable because you are taking this decision based on economics. So can I assume that the profitability of the clinker, external clinker sales,
it won't be comparable in that sense that if I am comparing, had it been in their market, if I had an option, obviously I would convert and sell. But if I had to travel a long distance and bring down my overall realization, then I might sell it as a clinker. So it may not be shown which is not exactly the profitability that you are seeing here. It will have lower profitability.
Okay. And so, because we are, thanks for the explanation, but because we are doing this, so that means we have additional clinker capacity actually. So going back to the earlier question asked, we are at 95% of clinker utilization, but some of it is at least getting sold externally. So we do not need to expand immediately, right?
You can say that, no, it won't be a very substantial. If you see in a year, we sold about 7 lakh ton of clinker. So if I was selling say 50% in the market, 50% I'm getting converted, then it's only 3.5 lakhs of clinker that I could have converted. So in overall, when you are talking about 11 or 12 million ton of cement that you have, you are adding only about 500,000 ton there.
Yeah, but sir, your 6.5 is your clinker capacity. So 6.7, and you are selling.
Sorry?
Yeah, so on a base of 6.7, if you are selling 6.7 million tons, you are selling 7 lakhs, and out of that 50-55%. So that is a good 5-6% number in itself, 1 year of growth. So that is why I was asking from.
That's what I said, that when we took that decision of starting the work prior to COVID, this was what the idea was. Then that presently we are about 95%, and if a new capacity will take 2 years to come, 1 year we'll manage with going with 100%, and then also utilize the clinker that we are today selling, convert into cement. So this is how we would have managed in next 2 years' time.
Fair enough. And sir, from next quarter onwards, like the suggestion which was given earlier, a similar suggestion, if we can just have some of the key numbers in the press release itself, including the consolidated volume numbers, because probably it's better to look at the company on a consolidated basis, including UCW. So that will be very helpful from next quarter onwards. Thank you.
Yeah, in response to the earlier question for consolidation, we are netting off, then you need to net off on the inter-unit sale of about 10.51 lakh tons. So that is what is getting cancelled off when you consolidate the accounts.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, due to time constraints, we take the last question from the line of Sanjay Gandhi from Ratnabali Investments. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. So can you share the margins like what we make by selling the clinker?
Sorry?
So what kind of margins do we make in selling the clinker, sir?
At a contribution level, we get about something like 800 rupees a ton.
Pardon, sir? Yes, I can hear you, sir.
At the contribution level, you get about 800 to 900 rupees a ton.
Okay. 900 rupees a ton. And sir, can you just guide us for what is the maintenance capex for a million ton plant on annual basis?
Actually, your voice is not clear. Can you repeat your question?
Hello?
Can you repeat your question? Your voice was breaking.
Yeah, I just wanted to know, like, what would be the maintenance capex for a 1 million ton plant, sir?
We have a maintenance capex for us scheduled for in the FY21 of about 20-25 crores.
20 to 25 crores for a 1 million ton plant, right?
Not for 1 million, for our total capacity.
For our total capacity, right? Okay. Okay, thank you so much. Wish you all the best, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the last question. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Vaibhav Agarwal for closing comments.
Yeah, thank you. On behalf of Philip Capital, I would like to thank the management of JK Lakshmi Cement for the call and also many thanks for partners joining the call. Thank you very much, sir. Stanford will now conclude.
Thank you. Thank you, Vaibhav. All the best.
Thank you, Vaibhav, sir.
Thank you.
Most welcome, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Philip Capital India Private Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your line.